right, welcome to Juice in the Morning. I am here with Shane. He's back.
I'm back, guys.
Thanks for coming back, man. I appreciate it. I know that you had the week off last week. How was your vacation?
It was good, man. Yeah, I thought about just not coming back down, so I came back.
But today, we actually, once again, I've told you guys the podcast, we interview people. We have other people that are like-minded individuals joining the podcast. Today, we have the PTO Unlimited folks. So how are you doing today, guys?
Fantastic. We're all in uniform, too.
Yeah,
you know?
I like it. I love the shirts. The shirts are very nice. So
Yeah.
where did you guys get those made at?
A place called Inkworks. It's a local print shop in Fort Wayne, Indiana.
Mm-hmm.
But we just recently ran into some issues with them, so we're not going
we'll
to them anymore.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, they've really screwed the pooch on us.
So
More than
This
once.
is our third strike. Yep, we're done.
So the very first question I have, and this has probably come up in your shows, but I've just started listening. What is the PTO Unlimited title in reference to?
Do you want to take that, Brett?
When we were figuring out how we were going to do this, I think we sat in their apartment, Josh and Alex's apartment, for 3 hours
At
trying to
least.
think of names.
Yeah.
And everything we liked was taken in some fashion.
Mm-hmm.
And we're like, well, what's something that we do in our personal time?
Okay.
And we're not really trying to a subject specific show.
Mm-hmm.
So, paid time off or personal time off with unlimited
Topics. Yep.
except for
I
the
like
ones
that.
we don't, talk
Good.
about.
Yeah,
dig it.
we went through so many. There was at one point we almost called our podcast the junk drawer because it's like a whole mixed bag of things.
That's
and all
actually
that.
a good name for a podcast. I
It's
like
I
it.
think it's taken.
It's taken. Yeah, so
It's
we were
like-
like, oh man.
It's like everybody has a junk drawer.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh man, that would be so great because it's full of random shit.
Yeah.
We're definitely similar in the fact that we just talk about just whatever we
Whatever,
want.
yeah.
Right.
It's nice.
Right. Well, one thing that I found out, like looking through all these podcasts, Facebook groups and stuff, there's a lot of people that are story specific. They're very specific to telling tales or about medical stuff or things of that nature. But it's not really
Sports,
Yeah.
Yeah.
video games.
When you limit yourself to that, it really brings your podcast to just one audience.
Absolutely.
If you can expand on that, like what you do and what we do, like you can bring in people that you had no idea.
Try to make it where there's something for everyone.
Yeah.
You know,
And literally, Juice in the Morning started as I wanted to just get into doing podcasts. And my original idea was, let's just have a bunch of dudes that are friends with me that we drink on a Saturday night and wake up on Sunday morning and do the podcast. And because some of my best and most weird conversations have come from being hungover on like a Sunday morning, just sitting around, making a Bloody Mary or something like that. And we just start talking about weird stuff. So I was like, this is a great idea for a podcast. But then it just kind of morphed into interviewing people, calling people, and getting Shane on board. Shane was a great addition.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that.
I've actually gotten some compliments lately. I don't like to tell you that because
I don't want to get my head too big. over
Exactly.
there. I feel you.
it's big enough
It's
already.
pretty easy to do that, yeah.
But yeah, like it's. I think you're completely correct on limiting yourself if you're in a niche. But what I do like to do, and what I've started to develop, is ideas on doing like specific months. So like for the month of November, we did all football. I did a football podcast, and I did this podcast. So I was doing 2 a day. It was but it actually, it's insane how big of an audience the sports audience is.
yeah.
Anytime you talk about it, it's like those podcasts I would drop 300 or 400 downloads like right as soon as I dropped them. And it was like insane. I was probably the best months we've ever had. And it's just me and another guy. Like, it's not Shane. It's the guy that's Paul Lungard, Pauly Sleepers, which is a great YouTube channel. But it was just interesting because I did not expect that. I did not expect that to blow up like it did.
People, sports nuts, they look to get their fix through every avenue. You
Oh,
know?
yeah.
If you can't get it from ESPN or FS1, then, and there's tons of sports podcasts by the people on those stations. So
Yeah.
there's a huge,
Well, I think it's insane that broadcast companies are actually using that audio and just putting it into a podcast. Like they're literally doing their like TV show
like
and they're recording
PTI.
it.
You can
Yeah.
get the PTI show in a podcast, so you're listening to it.
So we are talking about sports. The Super Bowl is just around the corner. How do you guys feel about the Patriots being back in the Super Bowl?
Upset.
It doesn't bother me.
Not
Doesn't it?
surprised at all.
Not surprised.
I don't think anyone is.
No, it's they're like the Yankees. You know, that you just expect it to happen, and a lot
But
of people just.
The thing is,
I hate it.
that could go all the way at the end of Brady and Belichick's run. The Yankees, they're always, competitive.
Yeah.
This, I guess we'll see. If 3 or 4 years after Brady's gone, they're still that good, then they can be that kind of organization, and maybe it's a Robert Kraft thing.
Yeah. I literally put a post on Facebook and said, like, I'm waiting for the Belichick reign of terror to end. I'm lucky that I am literally young enough that he will potentially die before I'm done watching NFL football, which I know that's a little aggressive.
One
but,
can hope.
But I'm hoping that I outlive Belichick. I'm just saying that.
That's
But
a little morbid.
I know but that's what the Patriots do to us as Colts fans. Like they just get
And
us
I'm
to
willing-
the most darkest negative points.
Willing to say that I think that Tom Brady is the best quarterback of all time.
He's not.
I think he is.
I think he is. And
I don't like to agree with that. I'm not. I wish it wasn't so.
Yeah.
But it is, and he's just clutch, man. He's just he does stuff when it matters.
Shane, was there at any point in that Jags Patriots game where you thought they're going to lose this game?
No.
Yeah.
Never. I don't ever. I
Even
just see
down
the
10 in the
Patriots on
third quarter, I'm like,
Yeah.
they're not.
I see
lose.
Patriots on the screen. I'm like, oh well, I just better quit watching now because there's.
And that's what I was saying. Like while watching that game, I was like, they have no panic mode. Like they were not.
Yeah.
They were
Yeah.
not worried. They were just like
See,
business
they
as
call
usual.
like they used to call the Colts like the second half team or the
Yep.
fourth quarter team. Like they're just like
the cardiac Colts is what it was called because it was
and
going to
the
make you have a
Patriots are
heart
just
attack
like
watching
the
them.
whole game team. Like they're just good all the time.
Not worried. They're
Yeah.
good.
Yep. And
They don't
he
care.
doesn't like when you look at Tom Brady straight in the face. He does not look worried whatsoever. He's just like totally, completely chill, cool as a cucumber.
I hate him. I hate him.
I do too. I don't.
That's all I'm
I
thinking
really,
about
I
right now.
dislike him. He wears Uggs, and that bothers me.
Oh boy, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
Uggs, and he was a Stetson model.
Yep.
Yeah,
A few
I mean,
years ago.
he's a good-looking dude. His wife's hot. He doesn't lose.
I don't.
Plays
Is,
for the-
is he still married?
He is
I thought they
yeah.
had like
Yep.
a
Giselle, right?
little-
I'd read, I think late last year, that she was just last year got number 2 on like the richest supermodel,
yeah.
and so she had this reign for years as the top earning supermodel, and she just got dethroned.
They're 100% like top Illuminati.
Power couple.
He just wins, you know.
He wins in life.
They sold,
wins.
they
He's
sold
living
their
his best
souls a
life.
long time ago or something. 'Cause I don't know how your life is that great.
Did you see that Facebook is doing a TV show about Tom? It's called
Brady
Tom
versus time. Yeah, Tom versus time. That's
What-
going to be good.
What's the premise?
It's
Yeah.
basically
How
like a
he's
documentary.
how he's so awesome at 40 years old, I guess.
yeah.
Wow.
And he
Because he's never been hit because he has a great offensive
yes,
line.
his life is what do I have to do to stay good at football?
Yeah.
His life revolves around what is necessary to be a 40-year-old
That's
quarterback.
insane.
All right, so
working.
listen to this tweet by Skip Bayless. Amazing that Belichick's Pats have never scored in first quarter of a Super Bowl, and that all 7 Super Bowls have been pretty to extremely close. Maybe Brady toys with opponents for a while so he can pull off all-time comebacks ?
Or is he trying to say that it's rigged?
He's literally making the statement that Tom Brady literally toys with his opponent so that he can have this like amazing comeback and win the game. I think that's complete bullshit. Skip Bayless is one of the craziest motherfuckers that I've ever listened to.
Skip Bayless tries to stir the pot. He comes out with crazy things. So I don't know why he does it to get
I think
likes and
He's like
I think that's what he
retweets.
does.
He's like the Alex Jones of sports. he likes to really like, and when it comes to conspiracy theories, he's always just like
Yeah.
coming up with shit that just like throws everybody for a curveball. And this guy's the same.
Colin Cowherd was the same way for a while. He would just make outlandish,
Yeah.
predictions or whatever to stir people up. But
Mm-hmm.
there's no way that if you have the chance of winning the Super Bowl that you're going to let it slide just so you can have a fourth quarter comeback. That's ridiculous.
Mm-hmm. No, yeah,
I
that's
think
stupid.
Your sole thing is to win.
To
and
win.
You're going to do that.
Blow 'em
however-
out.
Yeah.
Yep. So with the PTO Unlimited, What is some of the topics that you guys kind of cover on your podcast, so that people like that are listening that have never heard of it know what to listen for?
So we talk about a lot of it's aimed toward video games, just like stuff that we're into. We watch a lot of movies, so we talk about movies, TV shows. A couple segments that we do that are pretty fun that we came up with is one of mine is millennial slang.
Nice.
So basically, what I do is I ask some girls and younger girls like at work, and I go on the internet and I find out kind of like what the new hip slang is. I look up what it means and then I quiz them on it
Nice.
to see what it means or
like
see if
that.
they know what it means, and we just end up having like a blast kind of with it. Brett usually ends up getting pissed off at what it means. And then I mean, what else we do?
Let's see here. We used to do a whole bunch of like segments where it's like soda tasting, where I'd go to Rocket Fizz
Nice.
and put soda inside of little cups and have these two
Purposely
tried out.
buys the most disgusting.
Yeah. I think it was our third episode. It's called Soda.
Gusting.
No, soda does not go pop.
Oh, that's right.
I got this. There's this funny story that happened on the podcast where I was like, "Oh man, I'm so excited to just be like, oh man, the fizz sound when you open it up." I was like, "What's the
You
best
put
sound?
it up to the
Best sound in
mic.
the world?" And I put it up to the mic, and it sounded like the bottle farted because like the cap didn't pop. It already and it was just the weird. I've learned not to do that anymore because it just doesn't work right. At soda tasting, we've had millennial slang. We talk about what we play and watch.
Trivia.
Trivia.
I come up with trivia questions, just pop culture,
Ooh, I love
and
it.
I test them. And I try to do it like it's a test for me too, because I try to do it all from memory. I try not to look anything up, and I try not to make it too hard because I can remember crazy stuff from 20 years ago for some reason, and I'm like, there's no way they're gonna know this.
I'm similar in that. Like, I'm able to remember things that I shouldn't remember. Like, I can't remember things that are important, but I can
Right.
remember things. I can remember things from movies and I love that you guys love movies and TV as much as probably we do, because we talk
yeah.
about movies all the time. And even the Judgment Day thing is based off of Terminator. So it's like
Yeah.
just anything from like the 80s and old movies like that hold up over time are just great. So
Right.
I can-
Speaking of that, I think I left my phone somewhere else. So
it's under your pad, I think.
ta-da!
Look at Brett.
perfect. This guy.
so
This
observant.
guy. Like, I mean, so when it comes to movies, what's the number one off the top of your head?
Like favorite movie?
Oh yeah.
My favorite movie of all time is The Punisher from 2004.
Nice. That's
The one-
an interesting one.
The one with the guy from Hung.
Tom Jane
Is it?
and Travolta.
Yeah.
Yes. That is a great. That's the best Punisher movie ever. I mean,
yeah.
I love the TV show on Netflix.
Sure.
But that is a really, and he's like, it's so good with the bow and arrow.
I'm gonna
or the-
respectfully
Yes,
or
right through the
respectfully
but the
disagree.
compound bow.
Yeah. Punisher is actually one of my least favorites, but I'm not gonna get into that. Brett and I have these arguments all the time.
We do.
But for me, my favorite movie has to be Toy Story 3.
That's a good one.
Yeah. It's emotional. It's fun.
I thought
it's
like
colorful. Good
that's
animation.
that's the one where they're on the trash heap, like getting.
Yeah.
Dude,
No,
that
Who
no
hasn't
spoilers.
cried
I
at
have
that?
not seen Toy Story 3, but I know
Oh my
I know
God.
what happens. So
Please
it's
tell
cool.
me you at least shed one tear. during
I
the
don't
movie.
cry,
Oh,
but
Oh no! At the end where he's playing with the
I
toys.
was very close. That
Oh,
was like
I was struggling.
I
was
remember
struggling.
Josh was when we went and we saw it in the theater. Josh was we went with I think it was me, Josh, and like a couple of our friends. And I saw Josh at the end, just like he was grabbing his seat and he was like twisted around and
dude, that was
biting
an
his lip.
intense moment.
Can we also talk about how you just said, "I don't cry"?
Are you emotionless?
I'm not saying it like I'm a tough guy. I just
I
don't
know,
cry.
but I had to do the voice. Your voice didn't even sound like that, but it's just funny to think, "I don't cry." Like, I don't know.
Yeah, you gotta use that as like a little cart thing where you can plug that in. I don't cry.
Literally I remember specifically the last time I cried was well, I have two times. I want to tell them both. The first time was watching Lion King when Mufasa died, and I was like 8 years old.
Mufasa.
Yep. And then I had an animal pass away when I was like 10, and I think that's literally the last time I remember actually shedding a tear.
Yeah. I mean, I don't cry a lot either, but I probably cried way more than that.
Jen, my wife, kept saying like, "You're gonna definitely cry when I like walk down the aisle, aren't you?" And I'm like,
Oh, darn.
Don't hold your breath.
You could have gotten brownie points if you did. You know that,
I should
right?
have like forced
Yeah.
myself.
If I'm
like-
there, I'll just throw some water on your face.
But and then she was like, at least if we have kids, like you'll probably cry when you hold your kid for the first time. And I'm like, once again, I don't know. I don't
It's
know.
a pretty emotional feeling. So I cried when that happened. So
Alex, you didn't answer your favorite
Yeah.
movie.
I really don't have a favorite movie. I mean, I have like a favorite Disney movie. Like I'm a big Little Mermaid fan.
Oh yeah, my
Yeah,
wife loves
so
that.
It's just like I'm a big Disney fan, but like within the last year, like I think we covered this on one of our latest podcasts, but like one of our favorite movies from last year, at least for me, was It.
Yeah, I just watched that like
Yeah.
yesterday, and it was
Gorgeous.
freaking awesome. I still to this day like I read that book so long ago that like
You actually read it?
yeah, I was trying to like figure out like did this happen in the book? Was this this way? But like I'm one of those people that I love reading, but if I read a book, I'm not going to reread it. Like I'll read it once and I'm done because I can't do it again. And it was just a long time ago because I'm a huge Stephen King fan. Like I love everything. We have, if you go downstairs, our bookcase, there's tons of Stephen King right there. But watching that movie though, the way they did the Pennywise was amazing. Like I don't remember the original. My wife was like, "This is not like the original," because she was into the original movie, saw it multiple times. I don't remember watching the original.
Campy, so campy.
Yeah.
It's like it's hardly unwatchable. Like
Yeah.
you can't do it because Tim Curry, he did great acting, but it's cheesy.
Yeah.
So cheesy.
another thing about the new one, did you guys feel like it was scary?
Right at the beginning.
Yeah.
Yeah. The only part that I thought that was actually
When in
scary.
the basement?
Yeah. Okay. The basement, and then when he goes and gets his arm.
Oh,
Chopped
okay, yeah.
Yeah. So up until that moment, I was like, all three of us, we only really went because we're not huge into scary movies. The only reason we went was like, okay, we have to see this. This is a
Right.
big deal. Let's just see if we get scared out of it. And I remember, I think it was Brett or Josh turned to me and he's like, I don't know what.
It was me.
Yeah.
Gonna be like-
What'd you
It's me.
say?
I said I can't believe I'm seeing this movie on purpose.
And then after the first 15 minutes, like I think it was like they were downstairs in the basement, and there was something like there was a loud noise or something that
Is it
happened.
the eyes?
Yeah,
Yeah.
there was
It
like
rumbled real
It
hard.
rumbled real hard, and I was like, oh, so that's how it's gonna be. So I like pulled my knees up to my chest, and I was like, oh my gosh, this movie's. I think the whole movie was really scary.
Once he was like revealed and
Yeah.
like he was
Yes.
seen more, I think it took away the value of how scary he was because like because in the beginning you're like you only see him down the drain, you see his eyes down in the thing,
Yes.
and then
The
that's
drain-
scary.
The drain, part
scene
was the scariest
God,
to me.
I agree,
me out.
110%.
Have you guys seen that meme? Or that's not a meme; it's like a GIF, but it's the arm waving.
Yes, I have. Yes,
That's
I have.
so creepy.
Yeah.
I
to me.
thought you were going to bring up the meme of like, I've got this down here, and like people
Oh,
climbing.
Yeah. I love that meme. That meme is hilarious.
It's like Game of Thrones and Game of Thrones season 8 down there, and it's like okay, it's a
Oh,
guy
you
crawling down.
guys Game of Thrones fans?
Oh,
yeah.
huge,
Oh,
yeah.
yes.
Yes.
Love
Not
it.
him.
Not so much.
What?
He hasn't even tried.
I
Yet.
haven't even.
Oh.
It's not. I watched some. I'm like, nah. I haven't even seen an episode.
Well, once you
so-
go down the rabbit hole, dude, it's
I know
like,
that
yeah.
It sucks you
I'm
in.
sure that I will like.
It's
it.
one of those
just,
things that you're like saving. It's like wine. You
Exactly.
can like have it there and like whenever
Exactly.
you want it, it's there.
Is
I like that idea.
It's good.
Because I intentionally don't watch things because I want to like enjoy it like that.
Well,
I
I'm
didn't
a-
watch Game of Thrones. I was like 4 years in.
Yes.
Like Game of Thrones was 4 years in before I started.
I'm a little
Really?
jaded because like I'll just watch everything as soon as it comes out, and then I have nothing to watch ever. So it's a good idea to kind of like let things come to DVD or
It's like fuel for binging.
Yes,
Yeah.
the problem I have is I don't know if you guys have the same problem, and I guarantee you people listening have this problem. You spend more time searching for something to watch on Netflix or Hulu or
Actually
whatever
watching.
than actually watching the show. That just drives me insane. Like,
Yep.
but what I've found is renting movies from like Amazon and whatever, pretty good deal because it's like $5.99. You can watch a movie. That's what we did with it, and it streams like. The technology we live in literally one of the best times
It's
ever.
beautiful.
Yeah.
I love it. I'm so thankful for it. Like I can't imagine life without a phone these days. A GPS on your phone and all that
Yeah.
stuff. If it weren't for that, I'd be screwed.
Yeah, people used to always tell me like you're really bad with directions. You've gotten a lot better, and I'm like, nope. I just have a phone that has GPS now.
Right.
I'm still terrible at
I've always
directions.
thought it'd be cool, like in the future, you can live in the future and you can like erase a movie from your mind and then rewatch it.
That's a fucking good idea.
Ooh, Black Mirror season 5.
I love we love Black Mirror
Oh,
by
yeah.
the way, too. Yeah.
So
yeah.
great, so
He
great.
doesn't like it.
I haven't.
He hasn't watched it.
Another one I have not touched yet.
I think Shane's already figured out his
Yeah.
personality.
Yes, Brett doesn't refuse. He'll do it when he feels like it.
I didn't
Well-
see his reaction. It was just like,
Yeah.
he hasn't seen it.
I guess what irritates me sometimes is when people are like, "You got to see this."
Yeah.
I'm like, well, now I don't want to. You know,
In spite.
I'll get to it when I get to it.
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
the more you want me to watch something, the less I want to go actually see it.
I'm just bad about if I'm at home, I'm like, that's all I want to do is watch something really good on TV. And that's why I never have nothing to watch because I've seen everything. Like,
Well, you just restarted Breaking Bad, didn't you?
Oh, that's so great.
I've already rewatched it all.
The whole thing?
Yeah,
We're
twice.
exactly the same. Once you start it, like that's just one thing you
Like
can't put down.
Pringles.
But the good thing about Breaking Bad is I forgot a lot of it.
Yeah.
So
Sure.
I was able to like watch it again and be like, oh, that's such a, like when my favorite thing I remember from the beginning of watching it again when the bathtub falls through the floor.
Oh, yeah.
I love that episode. I don't know, like it just builds to like Walter doesn't want to kill him and the guy downstairs and then he's just like at the store getting inside plastic bins seeing if like a body would
Body
fit
will
in it.
Yeah.
That's just hilarious to me.
That's so weird that you brought that up because I was totally thinking about that line that I think is like Walter says like when after the bathtub has gone through the floor, he's like,
Oh, yeah.
whatever type of chemical it was does not eat through this and this and this. However,
But
it
it
does
does
eat
eat
through
through. Yeah.
like everything else.
Aluminum.
So there's
like,
that.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
there's that.
Yeah.
Such a smart show, and they sealed that show shut when they ended it. Like everything was cut, tied off,
gosh.
just perfectly.
That machine gun in the back of his truck
Oh,
car that's just
yeah.
like eating through the house. Like, oh, I just love that.
Brilliant
stuff.
scene.
Yeah.
Brilliant
Yeah.
scene. I remember when the last episode aired, and Alex and I were watching it, and I was just like, how is this going to end? How are
Yeah.
they going to end this?
Yeah.
How are they going to tie this off? Just a great show.
That the scene where I don't remember what season it is, but where Jesse's about to do something stupid like kill those like drug dealer guys.
So every episode.
Okay, no, yeah, that's right. No, but Walter like runs him over with a truck or a van or something.
Yeah.
Okay, and then after that he gets out of the car and he's like, run, and then that's like the end of the episode.
Yeah.
So my brother had never seen this show before, and he walked in, and I'm like, shh, shh, shh. And then like that was our first time watching the episode, and he sat down, he watched that episode. He's like, I'm gonna have to watch this show.
Yeah.
Like that was his,
I love
that was his hook, line, and
the
sinker.
cousins that have the silver axe.
Oh, that never talk.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
and
they're
then
so great as just like these just savages, dude.
I
Like,
felt like they led it up to nothing though.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
yeah, but I like the little fight scene with him and
Hank?
and
Yeah,
and
in the car,
he gets hurt.
parking
Yeah,
lot.
that's a great.
Intense.
You guys could talk about Breaking Bad
this
all
could be,
day.
Yes, we can.
Yeah.
It's just its own
So
thing.
now I know how people do podcasts about one thing all the time. I was like, I always wonder how do people do that, but then talking about this,
Just-
it's
you
that
can
easy.
Constantly do it and chat
Yeah.
about just the.
So we do the segment Judgment Day.
Mm-hmm.
We do it every week. I don't know if you guys have listened, but for people that are new, the Judgment Day is we take a person or a thing that has happened to us in everyday life and we judge it whether it was good or bad. And we have theme music. I'm gonna take a second to pull it up.
Oh my
so.
gosh, how are you gonna do the segue to it, but then not have it ready?
I do this every time, and then I say we're gonna
And then he
edit
looks
it
at
out.
me like, "Say something." While I do
Vent.
this, I'm like, "Okay."
All right. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Judgment Day with Juice and Shane. All right.
He's the Terminator.
Did you create that yourself?
Yeah.
Sarah
That's
Connor.
great.
Terminator.
Yeah, he's Sarah Connor for sure.
We always tell our guests like we established that from the beginning.
And
so.
you can pick a character. You just can't be Terminator
You
or
can't
Sarah
be a whole
Connor.
bunch of the people because we've given
That's
away.
true,
we
that's
gave away
true.
like the little redheaded kid that doesn't like to tell on Sean
yeah,
Connor.
Yeah.
He's like, I don't know, man.
got
I've
the
never
mullet.
seen him. Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so first thing, I'm gonna start the Tide Pods.
Oh,
So
Thank God we're doing this.
so the Tide Pods, I'm judging all of the age group right now that is doing this because I don't understand it. I want somebody to explain it to me because I actually have refused to get on YouTube and actually watch it.
I have
So-
also refused to watch
So
it.
I just keep seeing the news saying like people are eating these, going to the hospital because they're getting sick and close to dying or dying.
Natural selection, man.
Yeah. So I'm judging these people
Yeah.
for doing this, but then let's go ahead and do an aside here and say, growing up, we always had trends like this. It just didn't exist with the internet. It didn't spread as wide. So
Yours was playing with a gun.
yep. And or my mom coming to me and being like, you and your friends don't like choke each other till you pass out, do
I
you?
used to do that, dude. I'm not gonna lie.
So what I want to do also is judge my mom
man.
because my mom brought these things to me. I didn't know they existed before.
she told you about
So
it.
then she told me about it. So then it's like, well, maybe
Gotta
that's
do it.
something. Maybe that's something we should do.
I feel kind of bad because I kind of have a story about the choking thing, and I was like, when you were saying like I didn't do any of that shit, and then you said that, and I was like, oh man,
Yeah.
But I did it a couple times, but we always had this friend that we would make him do it. So he probably like
You always had
we
that
probably
friend.
took like 10 years off that dude's life just by like making it because like we didn't make him, but we would be like, hey, you should do it, and he would do like you know what he's talking about when he says like the choking thing.
No.
So basically, like,
I have no idea.
You would bend over and you take like a whole bunch of deep breaths, and then you go up real quick and you
Okay.
grab like the. It sounds crazy because
It
but
is
you're
so
not, but you're not
stupid.
10 years old, so
no, I'm not going to do that.
so you grab your neck and it like literally lights like you black out and fall.
And you
But
pass
people were
out.
doing this when I was a kid for whatever reason.
So not even the way you described it. The way my friends would do it is literally somebody would get somebody in a sleeper hold
Yes.
and
Yeah.
choke them until they're like they would pass
see,
out.
we would do it like you hold like that, and then you would like
You would do it to
take
yourself.
the deep, yeah, and you could take the deep breaths while this is when like Jackass was out
Yeah.
and Bam Margera and all that stuff, and we thought we were cool. But I had this one friend that did it one time, and he literally like put his head back and he made like he went like made this like noise, and he fell backwards, slammed his head on the like whatever was like the desk behind him, and like. We were like laughing at this, like, and it's so bad because like he could have really got hurt or whatever.
Yeah.
But he was on the ground and he was like, but then like
Fishing out?
Yeah, but then like 10 seconds later they like woke up and was like, "What happened?" And we all just like laughed. But that looking back on that, I could see
That's so crazy. That is insane. Why
Yeah.
would you do that?
I just kids.
I
just
never
dumb
did
shit.
that.
But
And
he
then-
did play with guns, so
I didn't play with the gun. All right.
Did it go off?
Whatever. No, I got shot by my best friend by accident.
Where?
In my leg, 9mm handgun.
Holy cow.
Poking me in the leg with it.
Well,
Pulled the trigger.
yeah, us Hancock County guys.
oh my goodness.
Watch out.
I used to always tell people like a different story, like I dove in front of my friend saving him or something.
Oh
but-
yeah, you should use that next time. One of my friends in high school, he got shot in the eye with a BB gun.
God.
Like his friend was like, "Hey, check this out!" Bam, shot him right in the eye. Now he can't have MRIs.
Jesus.
Like he can't. He has to have a bracelet on or. A
Yeah, because the
necklace.
magnet would like.
Yep, kill him.
Straight
Good
out of that
God.
70s show. where
Yeah,
God.
my
Kelso,
eye.
Kelso shoots hide and eye.
So basically,
another
my
great
judgment
show.
day is literally judging just the age from I want to say like 10 to 15, just because you're going to do exactly what all your friends do.
Yeah.
Right.
Stop doing that.
I was most always
Heads.
the friend that had another friend that did crazy shit all the time. I had a friend like ate paintballs,
Oh god.
like
What?
stuff like that, like crazy. Just like would
I-
do anything to be like the center of attention and get a good laugh.
I
out
have
of
no
everybody.
words.
It was insane. Yeah, I had some weird friends.
Boy.
All right, so we go around the table. So if you want to start,
Sure. I actually had one just this morning. So
great.
hotel
Love
watching
it.
TV.
It's fresh.
Do you guys watch broadcasted TV anymore?
Sometimes it's mainly sports.
Yeah,
It's like accidental.
exactly. I was just flipping through the channels and I landed on Comedy Central and The Office was on. So I'm like, okay, here's something just to wait while everybody was getting ready. And I felt like I watched maybe 15 to 20 minutes and it felt like 10 minutes of it was commercials. And I'm like, this is bullshit. You know,
Yeah.
show the episode.
Yeah.
And it just pissed me off. I'm like, I almost tweeted at Comedy Central just because it annoyed me. And
You
I'm
should
like,
have. You should have.
I almost did. I'm like, look, I get you have to advertise. That's a lot of your revenue. But I mean, 5-minute stretches of commercials on a 30-minute TV show is way too much.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And it's also insane that that literally watching something like that takes it away. Like it takes
Yes.
away from it because you're literally sitting there watching a 10-minute ad. And
Same with the internet.
that's why streaming is killing
Yes.
broadcast television.
We were
Yes.
watching a hilarious video earlier before you guys got here, and it literally it just switched to ad. It tells you that ad's starting, so it already takes you away from what you're watching because you're like, oh shit, this ad's starting, and then so that's already taking you away from it. And then you got to watch this like 12-second ad that I couldn't even tell you what it was about.
Yeah.
I guess some people might get in there, but
Yeah, for me, like sometimes now I have YouTube Red, but
Yeah.
before I did, I would like want to watch a movie trailer,
Mm-hmm.
and the ad would sometimes be a movie trailer to the movie trailer. You know, it's like it's just ridiculous. It's
You're
like
oversaturating your
someone's
market,
getting
guys.
fired for that.
yeah, Google, you know, and their YouTube BS.
But yeah, that's a good judgment. The commercial time needs to be cut in at least half.
And I remember thinking, this is why I don't watch TV. This is why I stream everything.
Yep.
Because it's just, I don't want to sit there and wait.
I completely agree.
It's the whole thing of, in today's age, you want what you want now. And you can pretty much get anything you want now.
right now.
Especially entertainment wise.
That's a good one. How about you?
So my thing would be, I really don't like it. I don't think that any government person, especially the president, should have a Twitter.
That's a good one. I like
It
that.
bugs the crap out of me to see that in the news. I'm like, oh, why does he even have a Twitter? Like, that just seems something like we would have as a podcast or a 14-year-old would
Yeah.
have. Like, I just don't think that you should be communicating on a tweet to different countries about things.
Well, we've talked about it on this podcast before. Like, I think I find it insane that literally our commander in chief could start a war because he sent a tweet to
Yeah.
somebody.
That's exactly what we talk about when we
Yeah.
we watch
South Park.
we watch that's not what I was gonna say, but we watch one of the YouTubers, Philip DeFranco,
Oh yeah.
and he talks about like shows these tweets all the time. And I'm just sitting there with my hand on my face like the whole time, like I cannot believe he just tweeted that.
Yeah. That's a good one. And it's my wife actually came up with a really good statement yesterday, which I know there's probably going to be some haters to this, but she was like, if you're going to be in office or in any kind of job, you need to have experience. And she was like, because she's in HR, she works in HR. So she's like, I'm not going to hire somebody that has never done this job before. Like, I'm not. And it made a lot of sense. It just made a lot of sense to me. But then on the flip side of it, there's the new idea thought process as well. Like, you're doing something that nobody thought of because you're not in the industry.
Yeah, to play devil's advocate with the Twitter thing, I feel like Twitter is an extremely useful tool for a lot of different things. And I feel like, I mean, I get with the president thing for sure because, like, the proof is in the pudding. He says
Yes.
he says some dumbass shit. But I feel like it is a platform and it is a useful tool. So, like, I can see it's just being used the wrong way a lot of time, like the majority of the time. But I also can see how it can be used to, do a lot of great things too. So, yeah.
Good.
Pause and
So
Okay.
your judgment, we're going to judge the Twitter thing. I would say half and half. We're going to say it's good and bad.
for sure.
I mean, it keeps people in the loop.
Yep.
But you got to be calm. with it.
Sometimes we don't need to be in the loop.
Right. Ignorance is bliss.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So for me, for my judgment, and I'm gonna get some flack for this if my best friend's listening.
No, I'm excited.
He always says, "I'll try anything once," and I'm just like, whenever we go to a restaurant, he's like, "Oh, I'm gonna try this just to get on my own little high horse." And
Yep.
that bothers me.
Yep.
Like for myself personally, I have a regular thing that I always get at every restaurant. Like I know what I'm gonna get like a burger. I'm gonna get like chicken strips or something that's basic. That's not gonna ruin my night.
Yeah.
So I'm tired of people saying I'll try anything once because I mean it's fine to do that, but you got to calm it down.
Yeah.
And there's people out there that don't calm
Yeah.
it down.
Yeah, so I feel like you're going at the they're trying something just because it's different, not because they are interested in the entree or whatever. They're
Right.
trying it just because something.
And not necessarily food in general as well. He my best friend, he just got he's been dating this chick for like 3 months, and he got a mani-pedi with her.
Ooh.
I mean, I almost had him tell me to give him his man card.
I'm still to this day, I'm down. Like, I want to try it just to see.
Oh, see, anything once,
Just
right?
to see. No, just to see, because I've been told it feels amazing.
My feet are
Josh, would you do it?
100% too ticklish to get. Anyway.
I still have yet to get a mani-pedi, but if I did, would you do it with me?
I don't know.
Well, after-
It would definitely be
after-
good content for the podcast.
After,
would.
after just calling someone out for doing it, he probably is like,
Well, darn it! Now I kind of want to do it.
he's like, no, and he's like,
Yes. Let's do it. Let's hook it up. Valentine's Day. It's
You
coming
should,
up.
you should take it to the next level with them and be like, okay, so you said try anything once. Here's some crack.
Right, exactly.
That went 0 to 100 real quick.
That escalated real quickly.
Yes.
No, I do like that because I feel like you should. I mean, if you are going to be experimental and try stuff, try it because you're interested in it, not just because it's different.
And there's people that'll push it in like your face and say, "Oh, I tried this just because I'm like that." And that bothers me because you kind of have a high horse and you're kind of like building yourself up,
Riding in on it.
Yeah, exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
I like to try new things, but I completely get what you're saying. Like people do it for the wrong reasons.
Like I'm not going to try something new if I look at it and be like, like all the ingredients in this entree is like. Or like food wise, and then I mean black tar heroin wise, like I'm like, that's really addictive. So I'm
you're
gonna
going
say,
on. You have a perspective here of
here's
food, drugs.
You know, there's a heroin addict out there somewhere. Like, don't knock it till you try it.
I need to save this. Like, that's good. 35 minutes into the podcast, I'm gonna go ahead and save that clip because
you know that's a thing. You know that there's a guy doing that. Like,
Right, exactly.
You can judge me all you want, but don't knock it till you try it.
He's in an alley with no clothes on, and he's listening.
It's interesting that he's in an alley with no clothes, but he has an iPod or like
he has
an
a
iPhone.
ability.
I mean,
Sometimes
to be
when
able
I'm
to listen to the
driving, I just like
podcast.
do this thing where I continuously, especially when there's lots of people outside, I'll just be like, that guy does drugs. That guy does drugs. That guy does drugs.
You
Like,
judge people.
he's like Oprah. He's like
We
Oprah.
have a whole segment. I'm very judgmental.
All right, so Shane, what is your judgment
Okay,
today?
so I've been back to school lately, so just going back to being around college students and they're not paying attention to. Basically, so I'm going to keep the first part of it short. They just come in, like when you get out of an elevator, they come into the elevator before they let you get out of the elevator. And I'm like, do you not see how that just doesn't work? Right. And then the other day, this is kind of more of like, I don't know if I want to judge him, but I just want to tell him to calm down a little bit. I was in the stall taking a number 2.
Yep.
And there was a guy next to me, and he was taking number 2 as well. And he had already dropped the deuce. And
Completed his transaction.
He was ready to start wiping, and I just hear like vigorous, intense,
No way.
like wiping, like
Oh,
really,
okay.
really.
Okay.
No. But he was like, it's someone that knows like you got to take care of your butthole, man. You got to like.
Can you spare a square? I thought that's where you were going.
No,
but
he was like wiping really, really hard and like fast, and it was like, if anyone knows anything, my dad used to tell me when I was a kid, and this is serious. My dad would tell me this. He was like, "You got to take care of your butthole."
Oh boy.
Because like if you don't like if you wipe too hard,
it's going to become irritated.
Yeah, and shit happens, and you get like fissure tears and whatever, all that stuff.
Hemorrhoids.
Yes. So, but I just want to tell this, and I saw the guy afterwards, and he was a younger guy. I just want to tell this guy, if you're out there, or if anyone else is, if you're wiping too hard, you really just need to take care of your butthole.
Wow.
Because and you're
good
maybe
advice.
judging me a little bit at this
No,
point.
no.
But if you would have heard how this guy was wiping, it was like intense. I was like, my eyes were like this, like, wow, are you like? He was like really getting in there. So
He really likes camping.
I just want to judge him for like, hey man, like chill out, take your time. You can be 5 minutes late to class. Just so that's who I'm judging. I know it's not where you thought I was going with that, but
Yeah. Samesies.
That's so good though.
yeah, you gotta take care of your butthole, dude.
So take care of that beehole.
Mm-hmm.
He takes that safety wipe to the next level.
If you gotta carry around some wet wipes, dude, like do it.
I've heard that that's the best, but I've never done it yet.
There's a product called Man Wipes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I saw.
Man, they need to sponsor this
Rest
fucking
in-
podcast.
Yeah.
Rest in peace, Big Black, but he was one of the guys.
The man pond.
Yeah, but he also he was selling men's wet butt wipes at one point. So
Used or
no.
okay.
I don't think there's a market for that.
There is actually.
I had to repeat in my head what I had said, and then I was like, okay.
Yeah, you looked at me blankly like, wait, what did I say again? Oh my gosh. We lost juice.
All right.
I'm serious though. Like, do you guys remember the episode of the man pond?
Yeah,
where he folds like paper towels and puts them in his.
And I told
crack.
you what my dad told me about like take care of your butthole. He told me like he's like don't like if you do that. He's told me my dad told me to do that. Like put some in there, like go do some stuff, come back, do the rest, but don't just like don't hurt your beehole.
Future
I know this
son,
is
daughter
I know this
advice.
isn't like the top of like the topics in the world today, but I'm just like somebody needs to say it.
No, that's a good one.
Good.
I'm
Glad you
a
liked
fan. I'm a fan. So we're judging this guy for vigorously wiping his ass.
Dude, if you would have been there, you would all understand. He was going to town.
Well, if you can hear it, then that's definitely
Right.
a problem.
But it was like it wasn't just like why it was like
see, that's what I'm saying. Like,
going
if
to,
you can
like,
hear
really-
it, it's a problem.
Yeah, I'm like, geez, dude, I just want to be like, calm down, like say it real.
Who does number 2 work for?
Perfect.
Be like, you all right, man? Something like that. But
No, that's also a movie that holds up. Austin Powers.
yes.
Unfortunately, I dislike the first and third one.
Good. I'm glad that you do.
You like the second one only?
Yep.
High
And I
five.
also want to hear your thoughts on Ace Ventura: When Nature Calls, the second one over the first one, because I think the second one kills the first one.
It does with comedy.
Yep.
But it's very slapstick in the
Oh,
second
they
one.
literally took the character. They took the character and turned it into a cartoon,
Yes.
basically. And I love it.
What does he
Oh,
say?
they actually did.
Yeah.
Jim Carrey I think he's the only one who's had so many cartoons based on characters that he's done.
Yeah.
They had Dumb and Dumber, The Mask.
I didn't know there was a Dumb and Dumber cartoon.
Yep.
I didn't know that either.
Did you know that?
no.
Yeah.
Dude,
I was
we
sitting
gotta.
here trying to think of what he says instead of Chicago. Like
Chicago.
He says a whole bunch of like Shawshank Redemption. Or like that. I forget what it is.
The scene that I will never get over is the loogie scene. That
yeah.
literally grosses me out
That's a
still
and
to
they all
this
walk
day.
out and they're
Yeah.
all like, yeah.
Laughing.
To this day, like it makes my skin crawl when I watch it.
And he eats he's like, what is this? And he's like rubbing it on his gums and
Guano.
stuff. But guano, yeah.
Oh, that sounds very familiar. What is that? Bat dropping.
But no, and I agree with the first one was, I feel like it took itself more seriously. And I have that whole feeling with a lot of movies. The original film takes itself seriously. So I wanted to, you guys had an episode on the new Star Wars, and I want to kind of get a little bit of an idea on
I haven't
that,
seen
Oh
it.
boy.
because,
Ooh.
well, we're not going to spoil it.
You sure?
Shut up. It's not going to get spoiled. It's been out long enough. You should have seen it by now.
Yeah.
That's still. I'm involved in this podcast, and I say no spoilers. On the
Anyways,
new-
we're not going to spoil it. Basically, I'm talking about the theme of the movie where they
Disney
did not take themselves seriously. They literally, it was, I keep saying literally, I need to stop that.
like Avengers, where they joke too
yeah.
much. Yeah.
Yeah, they basically turned it into a Marvel movie.
It's Disney, you know?
That's what pulled me away from the movie.
Gotta
honestly.
keep it light.
That first
It
like,
was
scene or
literally
whatever, where
taking you out of.
Star Wars is supposed to be serious. It's about
It's an opera.
It's a war.
Space
it's a
opera.
war. And that first scene where there's like that battle going on and they're dropping bombs or whatnot, and then they get on the phone to what's his face? I can't.
Lux?
Who's
Hux.
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 That's
Yeah.
Yeah, so they get on the phone.
Lux.
They get on the phone with him, and all of a sudden it turns
It's
into
a big,
a
comedy
really long
scene,
comedy
sketch.
skit that
Yeah.
was just pushed for too long.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this better not be how the rest of the movie is, and it is.
Well, and you take Rogue One just recently. It was
Fantastic.
very serious, you know?
Took himself seriously.
Yeah. The comic relief in Rogue One was just K2, and that's all you needed.
Yep.
Yeah.
Have you seen Rogue One?
I get like, dude, you're gonna hate me for this. I cannot sit through it.
What?
Really?
Why? What's wrong with it? Like,
Oh, it just was like maybe I thought I knew a lot about Star Wars, but then I started watching that, and I was like, I don't know any of these people. I don't know what's going on, and I've seen every Star Wars ever.
How
And
far
I-
did you get?
I remember I don't know exactly how far because I like started like doing other stuff with me. I sound so mean because I love Star Wars, I really do. But like I remember, man, like just really the beginning where like they come to get him because they want him to continuously build the Death Star, right?
Yeah.
Sure.
And then the daughter runs
Great
away.
scene, by the way.
Somebody,
It is.
old what's this guy's name with the messed up eye? Forrest Whitaker.
Whitaker eye.
Oh yeah.
My wife hates that guy
Comes and
in
gets her out of the hole.
every movie.
And then I've always just wondered, like, man, that guy like made it. He had a messed up eye and he still made it. Like, that just goes to show you anybody can make it in show business. But that's pretty much where he comes and gets her out of the hole. And then I remember them like standing around like a strategic table talking about how they're gonna go do this and that. But that's really all I kind of remember. But
the thing is with Rogue One, you didn't see the end. The end is amazing. It's the best scene I've ever seen in Star Wars ever.
Okay.
And you're not supposed to know those characters.
No.
None of them.
didn't know that.
Yeah, they are unknowns, and that's the point.
Yeah.
So
That's why I'm
I
kind of
remember the
worried
scene
about the
where-
Han Solo film. Kind of worried.
I remember the scene where they're like, "What should we call ourselves?" And then like Rogue One. I remember that part and like
But I just think they can really fuck up the Han Solo film. They can mess it up.
yes.
I'm just saying they can mess it up. It's like because with like all the Marvel films, I feel like they have not put out a stinker, like one that I'm like that sucks terribly.
Donnie Witt said Jar Jar Binks might help out the new Star Wars. That's how bad it is. I just saw that pop up on the comment. At least he's not trying to ask us if we want to buy a
Everyone's
couch.
gonna hate me for this, but I didn't have a problem with Jar Jar.
Oh,
I
what?
didn't.
Have you guys
I
have you
didn't.
go down the rabbit hole of Jar Jar being a Sith Lord?
Yes. We talked about that on one of our other Aftercast movies last year.
It's hilarious.
Yes.
It's awesome. Like that he was like they were like modeling his defense style off of like The Drunken Master with like Jackie Chan.
Yeah, that's
We're
a
like,
great movie. I like that movie.
Yeah.
I like old
that's
like karate kung fu movies a lot.
So you like Kung
Bloodsport.
Pao, Enter the Fist, don't you? No? Oh, man.
dude, it was good.
No, I'm more like
People that are listening may not have any idea what that reference is.
I went and saw that in theaters. I remember.
What?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I love the movies when I was younger. I have a kid now, so it's like harder for me to make it to the movies. But like sometimes I still go to the movies by myself all the time.
So one of the last topics I want to get into because we have plenty of time no matter what, but XFL. How do you feel about it? Have you heard about it, Shane?
Sorry, I'm reading these comments. What
The XFL. So
Yes,
basically,
yes,
Vince
yep.
McMahon is trying to bring it back.
There's not going to be any owners. He's going to own the whole thing. And they're going to bring back the XFL back into the black football. And
well, what I want to say is one of the things that I loved about the XFL, but they said they are doing away with it, was the scramble for the ball for the person to have possession for the first quarter. Literally, what they would do is they would put two guys apart from each other on the field, put the ball in the middle, and like go, and you guys fight for the ball, and whoever gets the ball starts with the ball.
CTE is going to be at a all-time high.
I'm
with
glad
this.
you said that. I have a theory. It's very interesting because he's taking another run at the XFL at a time when the NFL is being greatly criticized and ratings are coming down. So it's like, what's the original XFL was based on it's harder, it's more dangerous, it's bigger, more physical, all that than the NFL. You know, there's no late hit or no roughing penalties. And so what is this? Is it going to be, how are they going to do it when football is killing its players?
I'm all in on the fact that they get paid more if they win.
Yeah.
Because if my team was like motivated by that, I'd be okay.
See,
with
I
that.
kind of agree with him. Like in a time where we're like already trying to like calm down with the amount of people that are getting CTE and stuff. And like a big thing that's always been an issue with me is like college football players. They don't get paid. That's 2-3 years of their life where they can really do some damage to their body and or their mind that can affect them for the rest of their lives. And they're doing it all for free while whatever university they go to is making millions
of dollars.
And I have a really big problem with that. And then, so I don't think I mean, as much as I want to, like, it's cool to see people just straight, like, murder each other on a football field. Yeah, that's great. And, like, people love that. People love NASCAR when the cars flip and the wheels come off and all that stuff. But they don't think about like the individuals that are actually playing the sport and how they have to live the rest of their lives with like a slur or you know what I mean. Like
I'm just waiting for them to bring back the gladiator games, like where like people are actually fighting to the death.
I've seen. Like,
I'm waiting for it.
I've seen
It's
some
gonna
videos
happen.
where people in
It's
like
gonna
full
happen.
armor and they have like axes and swords and you can't really hurt each other. So it's like basically like MMA, but it's with swords and stuff. So
Oh, yeah.
that's pretty cool.
And
So setting aside what Shane just said about safety, what you were talking. So I'm still relatively new to football, so
Yeah.
I don't remember the XFL. So on the way down here yesterday, the guys were kind of explaining what it is. But you saying just that first starting point where you have to go run for the ball, kind of like when you're in gym class and you're playing dodgeball.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like that would make football for me 10 times more exciting
Oh,
to
yeah.
watch.
And
Safety aside.
Yeah,
If you
absolutely.
ever played football, you know that they had a thing that you did in practice where it's called, well, some people call it everything, but like hamburger.
We called it Oklahoma.
Yeah, and basically what you do is one person has the ball, the other person, and you're trying to get by them, and you just basically smash into each
Yeah.
other.
Had literally.
I'm just gonna start going, and so
Like, totally
how did
literally?
that happen? Yeah.
So Judgment Day.
Yeah, judge me for that. You had pads though that like didn't allow you out, so it was like
Yeah.
run
Yeah.
at this guy.
And everyone, the whole team is circled
Circled
around
around
everything,
it.
and you just kind of like, it's
Oh,
like
it showed it separated the men from
it
the
did.
boys.
It really was like, like if you and everyone go, oh, like do that whole like everybody get all hyped up. And like looking back, I'm like I'm like, how many people really got like,
and that was probably terrible for your brain.
yeah, yep, just straight shook up in there and like side of the.
Because what I did was I would always try to do something like different. Like I would try to jump over the guy, so I like, got flipped, landed on my
Yeah.
head. That's probably why I'm as
My thing was-
dumb
Did
as
you
I
play
am now.
football?
I did. Did you? You
I
played,
played
didn't you?
middle school football, and I played like a whole bunch of like backyard football. Like I was super in, like that's all I would
used
go
to
to football
play-
practice, get out, go play backyard football.
Yep. We used to play against the Greenfield guys all the time, even though we didn't play in actual school football.
Yeah, I did not play high school football though.
But we would play no pads, tackle.
Did you always play on the practice fields
Yep,
over by
Lincoln Park
Okay, that's yeah.
Elementary School. Yeah. Anyways, you guys don't need to
Wow.
know.
Thanks for your history lesson, man.
So you let us go. We'll sit here and like, yeah.
But I think that it's interesting because the XFL is going in a direction, at least based on Vince McMahon, that they're giving the game back to the fans and they're going to make it safer than the NFL, is what they're claiming. So I don't think they're going in that extreme direction like they did in the beginning.
I will say what I do like about it is the fact that like the characters, like the kind of like if you
He hate me.
yeah.
Rod Smart.
I love that.
I heard that he still hate me. That's what they need. But like, I'm just saying that like, kind of like the people love. That's why people love the WWE or like that because of the characters and like
Pageantry.
and the heels and the good guy, whatever they're called. I forget.
Face.
Yeah,
baby
face and the
face.
heel. So basically, like that's what's exciting about it. And like I was as a kid, I always loved anything that had multiple characters. Like Mortal Kombat had like the best characters, or Street Fighter, and that's why I love those games because they all had like a character and they had like a backstory. And I would pull out the little thing and read like, oh, like
Sure.
like Ryu and Ken and like where they came from and like so that's what I think is gonna be great about.
Do you guys remember Jared Lorenzen, the guy, the big quarterback that played for Kentucky? He was like 300 pounds.
No.
Anyways, he posted on Twitter because Pat McAfee from Indianapolis is saying that he wants to own an XFL team, but he was like, Vince McMahon, you guys need to give me a loan, and then I'll own an XFL team in Indianapolis. Jared Lorenzen and him are friends on Twitter, and Jared Lorenzen, like I said, giant fat guy that played quarterback. He
do know this.
posted
Okay.
the back of his jersey, and it said, "He ate me,"
I did see that. That's why this is coming
instead
back
of
to me
"He
right now.
hate me."
Who do you guys want to see if that when this comes to the TV? Who do you guys want to see? Like do you guys want to see like Tim Tebow?
Manziel, no,
Giant-
hands down,
that's-
Manziel. I
yeah.
want to see him play football again.
Yeah.
They better keep Kaepernick out.
Yeah,
I'm just saying that. I mean,
yeah. Don't let him play
He's
football.
gonna be
again.
laying on the ground during the. He's like, shit. He's like, I gotta take it to a new extreme.
well, that was the thing that Vince McMahon said is that you have to actually stand for the national anthem,
anthem, yeah.
for the XFL.
Well, when there's no owners and it's just one boss, you can have those kind of policies.
And when you're him, he is like, from what I've heard of him, he's always
Hard to
been
work
like,
for.
yeah, he's like, this is how it is. If you don't like it, you can hit the road.
You don't want to stand for it? You're fired. He'll make it a thing on the XFL.
Man,
You're
his
fired.
voice when he did the promo for the XFL, I was like, dude, that sounds awful.
He doesn't need to do it anymore.
Yeah.
it's that's not a thing. Like wrestlers used to be the growly,
Yeah.
big bulk guys. I can't talk right now.
Big butt.
Big butt, big
I
bust.
thought you were gonna say busty. and I was
Well,
like,
I
oh,
mean,
yeah.
they had the pecs, you know.
Man, they got some big asses.
All right.
Thank you.
Another minute I gotta write down here.
But the nowadays, like if you watch wrestling, it's all about how you can do your stuff.
Yeah.
It's all about speed and keeping the crowd engaged. So I mean, it's not about the talking like that anymore. You know, it's not you don't have to be growly, you don't have to be manly. It's just
I will
do your
never
thing.
get over the fact that my favorite professional wrestler was The Rock, and
Me
his
too.
just like shit talking game was the
If you
best.
don't like The Rock, like I'll get the fuck out of here. Dude, he's
Josh-
like the
Josh-
most like
no.
well
No,
like
Josh hates The Rock.
Why?
Yes.
How?
Well, first of all, his pecs are implants.
Uh-oh.
it's cool. Whatever.
He's so fake.
I don't think so. One, because I know like a little bit of backstory on him. Maybe you like know this something about, but he is like like when he was 16 years old, he was 6'4", 250
Yeah.
pounds.
Yeah, he played football.
He's like a monster. He went to Miami.
Yep, I'll never get over there. There's a video of him chasing down a mascot and punching the mascot.
But the thing about him is like dude, the dude's worth ethic is second to none.
He
is-
always says, when he's talking about being successful, always be the hardest worker in the room.
Yep.
Do you know his production company is called $7?
Yep,
Do you know the
$7
story behind
Production.
that?
because when he moved to California at $7.
When he was getting, he went to lunch with JR to talk about getting
Yep.
into WWF at the time, and he was like, "JR, I'd buy you lunch, but I only have $7." And that's his production company is now called $7.
I think
It's just amazing.
John Cena's story is the one that where he moved here and he was living in his car and stuff like that. But I love The Rock,
Me
dude.
too.
Like his work ethic and like if you follow him on his Instagram, there's a chance that like all that shit's fake and he's an asshole. But I seriously doubt that. I think he's the man.
He'll pull over and take
Yeah.
a picture with a fan on the highway. You know,
yeah.
it's
he's and like I don't like no.
No, I'm not offended. I don't care.
I don't know how like he's such a likable guy. Like
he is, but I just dislike the fact that he left wrestling and he just comes back for those pops. That's all it is.
That's true.
It bothers me.
I see that. Yeah, I mean, like as someone that's not that big of a fan of, I mean, I know a lot about wrestling and I've gotten into it, but
I was into the Attitude Era, and then
Yep.
after that,
Yep.
I just didn't really watch it because I grew up. I stopped watching it. Like
I was like into like the Hardy Boys and stuff
Yeah.
like that,
Oh, yeah.
like the
Oh, yeah.
doing the swan dive, and I had a trampoline, and me and my buddy would always do like this and then flip at the end like they used to. I thought that stuff was cool, but
Yeah.
Well, we still watch wrestling.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I was like, Josh actually just saw some. We were just going through Facebook and found one of those videos of of two guys playing in a ball pit, like one of those like Sky Zone or
Yeah,
something,
yeah.
and they were doing like all these Jeff Hardy moves and like swan dive and,
Yeah.
And, like, the
Randy
second,
Orton
like,
stuff. So when they were flipping each other, throwing them into the ball pit and stuff, and I was like, oh my god, that'd be so much fun. And I look at him, I'm like, but we're too old for that.
I blow my back out just thinking about it.
Yeah, and like I said, I'm not against wrestling. I literally watched it.
It's very.
Oh my goodness,
different.
that's 3 now,
That's-
right? 4?
I'm gonna.
now that you point it out, I'm like,
I'm just gonna stop talking. Go ahead.
I don't know. You
Go
can't do
ahead.
that.
Go ahead.
You're the segue
Shane,
guy.
go ahead, host.
Okay, so back to what I was saying about wrestling.
About the XFL.
Have you guys seen the movie The Wrestler?
Yeah.
That's a great movie, isn't it?
Yeah,
And it
yeah.
kind of depicts like what happens to a wrestler's body over time, and like Hulk Hogan, as weird as that dude is now, and as much weird shit as he has going on, but like those kind of guys, like, and I watched a really good documentary on either Netflix or Hulu, but it was about the DP Yoga or Diamond Dallas DDP,
DDP yoga.
and how he took Jake the Snake,
Yeah. Saved
and
his
he
life.
was like drunk. He was like about to die, and he took the guy. Who's the guy with the toothpick?
Scott Hall.
Scott
yeah.
Hall. So they took both those guys basically, and they were both on the cusp of getting ready to die.
Yeah.
And he took them into their house, and they have all these like injuries from wrestling, back injuries, and all this stuff. He took them in there, and he did like the DDP yoga and all that stuff, which I was like, that's bullshit. But then once I started watching it, he got them eating good and like just basically using their body and like doing yoga and like stuff that they wouldn't normally do. And then they lost a bunch of weight, and it was good to see like someone that was like, you saw him at the very worst, and then you saw him come back from like, and then he got inducted into the Wrestling Hall of Fame, right? And that was just like, that's one of my favorite documentaries right there.
Yeah, I don't know if you saw Scott Hall, like his last wrestling match. I want to say it was on. It wasn't TNA. I think it was an independent scene, and he was on so many drugs. He had to be carried in and out of the ring by 2 other guys.
Jesus.
And it's
so
crazy
bad.
to see him. Like when they first showed him, I'm like, I don't know who that wrestler is.
Yeah.
And then they were like, here, showed it. I was like, holy shit, that's that guy.
Yeah.
Because he's like a handsome,
Yeah.
good looking dude, and he looked like shit, dude. And then they got him back to. It's just cool. It's just heartwarming, like one of those comeback stories. or
Shane
whatever.
loves an underdog story.
I do. I like a
Same.
good underdog.
Same.
Yeah.
So basically, what I want you guys to do right now is tell the listeners where you're from, what you guys do, and the name of your podcast and social media.
Okay,
Do you want me to? I do the plugs every single week.
There you go.
So I mean, Brett, you can say a couple things first.
Yeah, well, we're from Fort Wayne, Indiana. It's about 2 hours north of Indy. As far as you want, like a backstory of our beginning, or what?
No, just like tell people how to find you, basically.
Oh, we're on darn near anything. right?
Everything,
Yeah.
yes.
Darn near. I like
Darn near.
That's
do a
probably my
search.
new favorite word.
PTO Unlimited podcast. That's all you have to look up. We're on YouTube, iTunes, SoundCloud, Stitcher, Podcast Addict, all those kinds of things.
I want to go out on a limb and say, like, you guys are awesome about how organized I feel like you are, because it may not. Maybe it doesn't feel like that to you, but when I'm watching you guys on your Instagram live where you guys do your videos before you do your podcast and like you write down topics, like if people that are listening want to listen to a podcast that is a good show, listen to the PTO Unlimited.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Because we
Do not listen to our first episode or watch our first Facebook Live.
And
we ramble a lot.
Yeah, and the
Learn
amount of
to-
videos you guys like once I found out who you guys were, I noticed that you guys do a lot of like like what you did last night when you're like, hey, we're in Indy, blah blah. Like I like that. And
We
that's
need to do
that's
more of
maybe
that.
something that we might adopt just solely based off the fact that it seemed like it worked well. So
Yeah, absolutely. And you can catch us on YouTube. We normally have our highlight videos up every Monday.
Yep.
I go through and do so much work and bring it up and I get about 10 views. And that makes me smile. If I can get more, that'd be even better.
Yeah.
But I mean, it just happens.
Yeah, and I've always told everybody that comes on the show, as soon, like I was already a fan of your guys's, but Shane and I support everybody that's come on. We share everything. It's literally.
So basically, once
get a new
once
fan.
you come in here and once you've come in here and done the podcast, we are literally your biggest fan. And I can say it because I'm only to like one, but literally we are your biggest fans, and and from now on, once you leave that doorway, we'll like whatever you guys post, if you got something big coming up, it goes straight
Promote
through
it.
Yeah,
I
we'll
appreciate
promote it
that.
and make
Yeah.
it a big
Thank you.
deal. So as big a deal as we can possibly. I mean, I don't
Yeah, I
know.
appreciate you guys coming to do the show too.
Yeah.
That was
it's-
great fun.
It's fantastic. This is the first time we've been on someone else's.
Yeah.
First time.
I hate that we didn't talk much about video games.
Okay. I'm gonna give you a 5-minute chunk right here.
I just want to I want to know more about what they do with video
Yeah.
games, and I know what's that game that's really popular right now.
PUBG,
It's like the
Fortnite.
yes,
Fortnite.
yeah.
PUBG, been playing it, love it.
Okay, so I want to actually know just a little bit about Fortnite because I see it. I actually follow a very like raunchy old row. I don't know if it's on Instagram and or Barstool Sports, but they post really funny videos of people getting first on Fortnite and like losing their mind. and I want to know more about this. And I also saw a room where like several guys were playing, and the guys that did not win and the guy that won, like they were all super mad at this other dude and like threw shit. And like I just want to know more about.
I don't know much about Fortnite.
Fortnite's a lot like PUBG, except you can craft.
Yeah, you can
Okay.
build like walls.
So
and-
it's a shooter.
yeah.
Yeah, it's a third person.
Yeah.
And then like I said, back to my first question, just like more of like what do you guys do with video games, or what do you guys talk about mostly on the podcast?
Yeah.
It's really just what
we're playing.
or if we've tried something new.
Right.
What do you guys play?
Okay. We're big Destiny fans.
Oh, huge Destiny fan.
They're
Yeah.
Destiny.
Yes. us
We
too.
are Destiny.
House divided.
It's very much so. It's very much
So
so.
that's crazy because back when Destiny was first on PlayStation 3, I played it then and got really, really into it and was like, I know all the whole like the Warlock, the Titan. Is it not called a Warlock? It's something.
No, it's a
It's Warlock,
Titan, and then what's the
Hunter.
Hunter, yeah. So I got really into it and I got up to like 32, which I thought was impressive. But I played it all the time, and that's kind of my last because I only played it because my roommate had the game and the system. And then I moved out, and that was kind of my last experience with games since then. But yeah, that's one of my favorite games too. Yeah, it's good.
And with me, when it comes to games, I have to play multiplayer. I can't play by myself. I get bored.
You seem like
See,
you like Madden and sports games.
I have to play against somebody or with somebody.
Yeah.
Brett's totally opposite.
Yeah, I've gone away from the matchmaking because I was never very good. And
I'm terrible.
I'm a
it's
story
not
kind of
fun
guy. I
for
like to
me.
play the story.
I'm the same way. Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
And I guarantee you, my blood pressure just shoots through the roof because I lose my mind. Like,
And I don't like.
I don't get mad often, but when video games comes
the
on,
same way, kind of. Yeah.
like I like have to refrain myself from throwing the
Throw
remote.
controller, Sure.
I don't like playing repetitive games like Rocket League.
That is my jam. That is
love
my
Rocket League.
normal go-to.
See,
will play
I like
Rocket
it a
League.
lot. It's a fun
fantastic.
game, but once you've done, it's so hard to do something really cool,
Right.
And then once you do it, you're like, yeah, and then like after that, you're like, I can't do that again.
Yep.
It's
So
just like soccer.
Yeah,
yeah,
it's
Soccer.
it's
hardball.
fun to play,
Remote
but it's
control
like
cars.
that's all that
Barely
happens.
anything happens.
Yeah,
I'm currently playing South Park Stick of Truth.
Oh, I gotta play that.
Yeah, so I don't know how far I am. I played probably a good.
Have you played the Fractured Butthole?
No, I bought that for him for Christmas, so that's next.
last South Park I played was for Nintendo 64, and you
Oh,
had
yes.
that one.
you had
Yeah.
Snowball
snowballs,
one?
and
It was the
you
snowball
throw them
one.
at the turkeys, and you
So
can pee.
good.
You can pee on them. And throw them at them. Yeah, so that's the last South Park game I played. I was
Nice.
huge
I enjoy it.
into
It's
Nintendo
actually a really
64.
fun game.
Yeah, it's super
It's really
fun.
fun.
Sweet.
Yeah, but what got Alex really into gaming was Halo.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Halo.
Halo was good. I played that a lot in my young.
Once
the
again,
first,
another one
second
that just used to piss me off because I used to get killed
Dude,
immediately.
I'm
Like
so, yeah, I'm the same
I'd come
way.
into the game and you're dead.
dead.
Call of Duty, Halo. I'm so bad at those games.
Yeah.
I see these people like 22 and 2. Like I'm just like, what the fuck? Like what?
KD
Yeah.
spread.
Like it doesn't make any
Normally,
sense.
I'm
to me.
like 2 and 20.
Yeah.
Funny story about Call of Duty is when Josh was in college, he went to school for video game design.
yeah.
And so his class decided to go to, they had like this 21st century gaming club, like place that you could go and play video games, so like a LAN party. So a lot of his friends and the people that were there didn't realize that I was super into Call of Duty at the time and matchmaking, and I was pretty good.
So you're like hustling
So
everybody.
they're just like, oh, do you want to be in this competition? And Josh was like, you should totally do it. So I brought my pink controller and my headset.
nice.
And then I dressed up in like a dress and heels and makeup and made it look like I was just like,
yeah.
I wasn't any good at it. Like, I guess I'll play.
I can compare
That's
that
And
to like,
we were doing like the tournament, like bracket
Yeah.
style. And they're like, we were each given like a letter like for who you were.
Yeah.
And they're like, who the fuck is B? And I'm like, number one on the charts. And then I think I made it to like, I think I was like second or third place. And
Nice.
through the brackets you got you got kicked out if you lost. And I was sitting there, so eventually I had like 12 guys behind me while I'm sitting there playing in a dress and heels. They're like, Josh, that's your wife. I'm like, yeah, I was like, I'm totally kicking your ass.
I can compare that to one thing is like playing beer pong. I'd be like, yeah, I'm all right. Like, wow. Like just like, yeah, I'm okay.
He is a punk ass at beer pong.
Like good, you mean? Yeah.
Like I lost to you when we played on
I
Halloween.
went to Halloween and I went 12-0, and the
Yeah.
only reason we stopped playing is because we left.
Yeah, I told you I was like, you need to be done.
I was like getting into it, dancing and shit, and like I had my phone on the music. Like,
Yep.
yeah,
He was
vibing out to it,
feeling himself. But yeah, so PTO Unlimited. I feel like it's really easy to find you guys because you guys do have an original name.
Do you know
I
a
appreciate
Gina
that.
Fisher?
Do I know what?
A Gina Fisher.
That's my mom.
She said, "That's my girl." Thought I'd throw that in there.
Love it. So PTO Unlimited, anywhere that you get your podcasts. And you obviously know you can find Juice in the Morning because you're listening to it right now. You can find us on Facebook at Juice in the Morning, Facebook.com/Juice in the Morning, Twitter and Instagram, Juice in the AM. And then also we have a live show, which I'm completely terrified and nervous for, but it is February 18th, Sunday,
Yeah,
Cheviot, Ohio.
Cheviot.
Do you guys have like an audience going on?
Hopefully.
The guys from Pointless Discussions tell me they have a good group coming.
Wow.
So it's going to be interesting.
And as long as all of them don't come and watch it and then leave right afterwards,
Exactly.
because we're up next.
Yeah,
then
because
hopefully-
because technically we're the headliners because
I
it
just-
is our 100th episode.
I had a bad dream where there's this one person in the audience, and then we were like, Juice in the Morning. And it's like one guy's like, woo! And that was it.
So are you guys just doing this show just live?
Yes and no, because it's going to be a lot more like I'm going to have it planned out a lot better to where it's actually, I want to say scripted, but not
It might
really
have
scripted.
like a ridiculousness, like where we show some videos and talk about the videos, and then also have like the crowd play some games with us and stuff like that. So
the
we're
crowd
working
is
on
definitely going to be involved
Yeah.
because I've listened to a lot of podcasts that talk about doing live shows, and they say that you have to keep the crowd involved. You have to stand, which Shane was thinking that I think you thought we were going to sit. And
Yeah, I mean, I get that it works better standing up, but just like for my little comfort blanket, I'd rather sit down.
And we are doing dry February, which I think we're going to take. I think I'm going to take the 18th
I did hear you
off.
talk about that on the last
So
podcast.
for sure on that day, I'm gonna drink like 7 beers before I even get up there. But I think I might maybe we'll start like a day early and then just add that to that for that one day.
Yep.
But we both plan on not drinking at all for the month of February.
Just to because it is the shortest month of the year, so it should be the easiest. But yeah, live show February 18th, Chevy Ohio Legends Bar and Grill.
Also, we talked about this before. We might have some kind of hashtag for this event. And I think it would be good if anyone listening or even you guys want to post a hashtag that you might want us to use, something funny that we can use. And then it has to do with like a situational thing. So we're basically going to throw the hashtag out there. And then when we do the live show, we're going to read some of the funniest
Uses of the hashtag.
That's a really good idea.
Kind of like Fallon, right?
Yeah.
I was gonna say totally stole that from Jimmy Fallon. But you're not supposed to know that.
Sorry.
No, you're good.
But yeah, I mean, it's gonna be a blast. Thanks for coming on and doing the show, guys. It was
Thanks for
awesome.
having us.
It was fun. How'd the live thing go?
It went well. I think we got 5 the whole time.
Nice.
Yeah, but
We'll take it.
yeah.
I mean,
It's a start. You have to
putting
start
it out there,
somewhere.
But
putting
for
it
a
out there
minute there,
matters.
there's people like really commenting. I had like there's 6 or 7 comments about like when we were talking about Star Wars,
Yep.
and then a couple more after that when we were talking about the XFL. So I like seeing people's comments and
Nice.
kind of giving people a shout out while we're listening. So yeah.
Absolutely. Once again, PTO Unlimited Podcast.
Yeah.
Get it, listen to it, enjoy it. And Juice in the Morning.
Speaking of enjoying podcasts, hope you guys liked it. Thanks for
Yeah.
having it.
Yeah, it was
Thanks for
great.
coming on, and hopefully for everyone out there, the juice is worth the squeeze.
Boom.
I love that.